everyone, it's Kalini here, and I've got the lovely Nic Browne in the studio with me here tonight. I wanted to say hello to everybody, and hi, Nic.
Hiya.
Can you hear me? I'm fine, thank you.
Fine.
So I just wanted to explain to everybody what we're doing. So this is the second night we're doing this. It's called Time to Talk. And I just wanted to create just a nice, relaxed chat and a platform for anybody to come on, share their wins, share their challenges, their ideas or concerns. And we want to be able to sort of give a bit of learning and have conversations that are really important to you. So obviously, we're all going through interesting times, and I thought it was timely to start this as we're starting another lockdown in England. I know Wales have been having a second one already. So it's even more important that we share things. So tonight, we've got quite a lot of things in store for you. We're going to try and keep these chats, though, not too long. Anybody's welcome to come on as a guest. We're going to have co-presenters as well. So like Nic is on with me tonight, and we're going to be chatting about a couple of things. And if anybody wants to get involved, please do get in touch with me. I'm streaming actually to 3 different platforms tonight. There's the lovely Inspirational Women of the World group, my page, and also my Facebook profile. So anybody want to leave any comments in the chat, you're very welcome to. Irene, hello, lovely to see you. Irene was on last night as well, which was wonderful. Anybody want to leave any comments in the chat or ask us any questions, please do. But in order for your name to show, you will need to give StreamYard permission. Otherwise, it will just show as a Facebook user. So how are you, Nic? How are you getting on? And have you had a bonfire celebration tonight with your friend, with your children?
I've had a lovely, lovely day, actually. So I look after my friends' children every day, and which is really nice because it means my kids have got that kind of social time with other kids' age. So we've just done some sparklers in the garden. We've had hot dogs and coleslaw, and we did s'mores. We finished off with doing toasty marshmallows in the front room over our log burner. So yeah, we had a great time tonight. I know, in some ways it's like it's so much nicer doing something like that than, you know, we usually go to these big organized displays where you're like kind of huddled in trying to get to the front, and the kids are all like, you know, can I have £1 for this and whatever. So it's been really lovely to do something different, actually. So you've got to kind of see the real positives, haven't you, sometimes, of not being able to go and do the usual things. So we've been enjoying all our neighbours having their fireworks going off as well.
Well, do you know what, though? Isn't that typical, though, of the whole of the lockdown experience? Because I think it has actually brought, you know, a lot of the nuclear family. I talk about this a lot. You know, it's split up a lot. And I think it's really benefited families, hasn't it? Because they are spending more quality time together. I know it's been a challenge as well. We know that. Definitely. And I know that.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, throwing
I mean,
people...
at the moment, we're in my ideal lockdown because the kids go to school. My husband's going to work because he's in construction, so he still can go to work, and then I'm working at home, so it's brilliant. But I can't go anywhere.
For me, I've not noticed as much of a difference because I'm a home bird, and I've been working from home anyway, self-employed. But and I do go into companies working in schools and so on. So it's not been too different for me, except that obviously I'm not doing the school stuff and I'm not seeing my youth group and stuff like that. But I know it's been harder for parents who have got younger children and they're juggling still. And in fact, talking to somebody earlier on today, I know even though children are at school, for the ones who aren't or they're not well, or they've all of a sudden been sent back, I think it's the disruption that's the challenge, isn't it? I'm losing you a bit for your connection, I think. I don't know if there's a problem with the connection, Nic. But anyway.
Yeah, it's breaking up a little bit. I hope it's coming through okay.
Yeah, no, it's fine. So listen, guys, what we wanted to talk about tonight is, first of all, last night I posed a coaching question, which was, what's the best thing that could happen to you in the next year? And I left it in the chat. So please do, if anybody, I'm going to pull another card tonight. So Nic, if you're going to, I've got loads and loads of coaching questions. So if you want to stop me as and when, and as I'm doing, and I'll just keep going until you say stop.
Stop.
I'm running out. Right, it's that one. Okay, so the question is, guys, in the unlikely event that you had to leave your house suddenly and could only save 3 things, what would you take with you? In the unlikely event you had to leave your house suddenly, you can only take 3 things, what would you take with you? I don't know about you, I know what I would take. I don't know. We'll cover that towards the end, but I just thought I would share that. And if anybody wants to share with me in the comments what it is they would like to take with them, that would be really good. So why I wanted to invite Nic on tonight, everybody, is because next in a couple of weeks it's anti-bullying week, and it's something that the Anti-Bullying Alliance run every year, and I wanted to highlight it tonight because one of the reasons I know Nic, we're going to talk a little bit about how we met each other, is because I'm actually helping Nic at the moment with her own child who's actually having some challenges, isn't he? So do you want to tell us a little bit more about that, Nic? Are you managing to stay on the I think it's got a really connection.
Obviously I've known. Has it gone? I can't. Yeah, I'm on my Wi-Fi, and I think it's just really.
Yeah. Anyway,
we'll see. If I need to change it onto 4G, I will. Yeah. So yeah. So when I met you, I remember the first time we had a conversation when you talked about what you did with bullying. I was like, oh my God, it's amazing, you know, and talked a little then about what challenges I was facing. That was probably about 1.5 years ago, 2 years, wasn't it now? It's it was a while ago. And then so my eldest has just recently gone secondary school, and he's been having some challenges with a particular child throughout primary school who then moved through into secondary with him, and the challenges that he was having have kind of reared up even more, I think, as this other child is trying to establish himself with new friendship groups and to establish himself as a bit of a leader, or you know, in some sort of ways. And he's then gone back to sort of some of the behaviour that we were seeing from in years 3, 4, and 5. And obviously we both, you know, as parents had sort of said to our eldest, you know, we want going to secondary school is like an opportunity for a new start, for a new time to meet new people, make new friends, and move away from some of the challenges you had before. And obviously it's reared up again. So he got really, really upset, you know, a few weeks back, and it led me to, I think I was just ringing you for a bit of advice, wasn't I? Just you know, what to do as a next step, because I could only really see the options of either, you know, we speak to the school about it, or we speak to this boy's parents, because I know them obviously because I've been through primary school with him. And actually Kalini amazingly was like, they're probably neither of those are the really
you are right then, Nic.
go down. Let's look at how we can help Callum and to make himself and to be able to deal with them. So yeah, so he's got his little toolbox now to help him, and we've seen a big difference in just how he's been able to deal with, you know, the day-to-day things that happen. Today he's come home though actually and said, well, I need to do my Christmas list. I need to have Nike trainers because I've only got Skechers and everybody else has got Nike trainers, and I'll fit in better if I have Nike trainers. It's like, oh, this is, you know, the next stage, isn't it? I suppose. But
I think we lost a little bit of
so,
that.
You know, yeah. So
I think the essence of what we're saying is that I think that children will always face bullying situations, and whether you want to, however you dress it up. What my program, but people don't know this, I've written an anti-bullying program called Anti-Bullying 360, and it's important that it's important that everybody has strategies to cope with that, because there's different people involved in the cycle of bullying. You've got your person who's the victim, and then you've got obviously the person who's maybe the bystander who's watching on and watching what's going on, and then you've got your parent like yourself. A child that's being bullied, they're going to actually, whatever's happening to them is going to affect the parent and also the sibling. Then you've got the school or the organisation if it's an adult, and then you've got the perpetrator. So the idea for me is it's a hands-on program to actually help people to actually navigate the challenges by getting people to understand the impact of bullying and giving strategies to cope. So for example, for Hallam, who's actually having challenges at the moment, he's needing to have a few strategies to handle the situation at school. I think we've also then talked, haven't we, a little bit about how we have been talking about how he could maybe engage his friends to support, because the bystander often is there and they're not wanting to take part in it. But what's happening is they're unwittingly being involved because actually they may be fearful of standing up for their mate who's being bullied because they're fearful of being on the receiving end. And it is a very difficult thing. In fact, Irene's just shared this question, you know, it must be heartbreaking watching your child going through this. It's great that he has his toolbox now. And that's what it is. It's about giving a toolkit that they can try. And so we've talked about things like, I mean, tonight's not going to be a big session on bullying. If anybody wants to get any, you know, help with this, do contact me. But I'm planning to do a lot more on my own page in the next week or so, because it's going to be leading up to Anti-Bullying Week. But bullying is such a difficult thing, isn't it? Because it affects so many people. And I always say as well, with bullying, it affects, it's not just what's going on at the time, but it's the behavioural markers it leaves on the child, if it's a child, because then they take it into adulthood, and it affects their relationships long term as well. And it's a form of trauma, especially if it's happening all the time. And I think the other problem we've got as well is that bullying doesn't stop just at school. You know, in our day, we could see, before technology, we could see who the person was bullying us because they were in front of us. But now with 24/7, you know, technology, people are actually having to manage it outside of the school gates, aren't they? Because they take it with them. I mean, has Hallam been having some issues like that as well?
Yeah.
Nic, I think the line is really bad, actually. Are you catching me?
No, I mean, he does. Right, let me see if I can change my...
Well, whilst you're doing that,
I'm going to lose you if I try and change to 4G. Do you want me to try and change?
Yeah, go ahead, and I'll carry on chatting about a couple of things as well, because I think the important thing about bullying is that there is a strong causal link between mental health and bullying, and that's why as a mental health first aider, that's why I'm quite passionate about it, because there's been a causal link to show that when people are being bullied, it actually leads to them having mental health issues, but also people who have mental health challenges do actually get bullied because of it. So there is this bit of a vicious cycle, really, and I'm more concerned about the long-term impact on it. Thank you, Irene, for sharing that, my darling. I'm more concerned about the long-term impact. Can you hear me now, Nic? Are you back? I don't know if Nic is back with me at all. So I'll just carry on talking. So the main thing about bullying I just wanted to share. So as I said, Anti-Bullying Week is coming up in the next couple of weeks. It starts on the 16th to the 20th. And it's something I want to talk a little bit more about then. And then I'll talk about, you know, the different types of bullying, and I'll give some suggestions and strategies. Are you back with us, Nic? I don't know if you are yet. I'll just carry on talking.
I've changed my 4G, so yeah.
Perfect. So you're frozen, but don't worry, we can still hear you talking. So what are the couple of the strategies that actually Hallam has tried then, Nic?
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Don't worry about it. It's live.
So,
you know,
being able to at the mercy of the internet, his main strategy is just now having that kind of wall up. So you've kind of taught him how to, or you call it fogging, don't you? So so to almost push away what people are saying to him and make no reaction, really. So he just he's had the child come up and say mean things to him, and he's like, oh, is that what you think? All right then, and walked off. Or, oh well, I'm just going to go and get myself a drink. And he's batting it away without the reaction that the boy was getting before, because obviously Helen was getting really upset before, and really questioning in himself if those nasty names that he was being called were true, and obviously that reaction was then prompting more.
Yeah, so I think because the connection's so bad, I'll let you paraphrase what you've been saying. I'll just explain.
And I think as well,
I think we've lost Nic because it's actually been bad. I think it's a really bad line, Nic. So I'll just paraphrase what you were just saying, my love. So I think what one of the strategies I'd given Hallam to use, it was 3 things I said to start with. One was like safe places, making sure that you stay in a place where you're not likely to be bullied as easily, safe people, and then the other one is fogging, which is basically where you're actually showing confusion, so that a person wants to bully more when they're actually getting a reaction. So what we talked about was using a technique which actually doesn't give the reaction that person is wanting. But I think it's important to recognize that, you know, if you're a parent as well of a child who may be doing these sort of activities, it's about understanding also what's happening for the person who's the perpetrator, because very often it's because they're having a difficult time. And I'm not excusing bullying of any form, but I think it's important for people to recognize that, you know, there's lots of stuff going on that causes this to happen. So sometimes when you are being bullied, you know, it's about finding the strategies to cope, because you can't change other people's behavior towards you. It's more important for you to actually develop the strategies to actually manage that situation, isn't it? And I think that's what we're working on with Hallam, aren't we? Trying to make sure that he's got strategies to cope with it.
Yeah, and it's helped massively.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for saying that. And I think the other I mean, I go into schools and I do workshops on this, but I think the other challenge we have is the fact that there is so much, I don't know if parents can share it in the comments, there is so much confusion about what bullying is. People do not know. People do not know whether it's teasing. When does teasing become bullying? When does, you know, a conflict in the playground, is that bullying? Is it, you know, and this is the challenge we have, because there isn't any legal definition for bullying. All we have is people saying, you know, oh, he bullied me, but actually it might be just a one mean moment. So the main definition, I'll just share this and we won't go any deeper into it, but the main definition for bullying, or the one that's developed over years, is the fact that it's got to be, I call it RIP, it's got to be repeated. So it doesn't happen just once. It's got to be intentional. So you don't just do it by accident, and there's usually a power imbalance. And that is why, unfortunately, a lot of bullying nowadays is happening in gangs, because what happens is that when it's one person one-on-one, you can tell who your person is. But when it's several people in a gang, you can get away with it, because it's like at several people against one person. You've got that definite power imbalance, and it's a horrible feeling to be on the receiving end of it. Irene's just actually said, do you speak to the other parents as well as the toolbox? So what we've talked about, in fact, Nic and I have discussed this, is that sometimes there's a time when you do approach the parent, and sometimes it's not beneficial, because the minute you do approach the parent, it then leads to them wanting to do something about it. And then it's almost like the child who's being bullied is whistleblown. So it gets back to the children who are the perpetrators. So you've got to be very careful sometimes. And also there's like procedures in place. You need to see whether it took place at school, whether it's taken place outside of school, because the schools themselves have got a legal duty of care, and they've got their own obligations. There's a lot more to it. So I do workshops where I talk to parents in groups. And often that's the best way anyway of managing these situations, talking to people in a group so that nobody feels singled out. And when I do my workshops in school, that's how I get to the perpetrator, because then when I'm talking generally about the impact of bullying and what's desirable behavior, the child who's there doing it can actually see for themselves. They don't have to be put on the spot, but they're learning from it. So it's quite a good way of doing it. But thank you for that, Irene. So if anybody else has got any questions or any comments about, and if there's anything that resonates with you tonight, which is concerning you, please do share, you know, and do get in touch with me afterwards if you wish. Is there anything else you wanted to share at all, Nic? Nic, hello, are you frozen again? Sorry,
frozen again. I'm on my body. I moved to my hotspot. I don't know what's going on.
No, I think you're okay now.
Like from what Irene said there, I did speak to his mum, in fact his dad, in year 4, so a couple of years ago, to say, could we arrange some play dates with them? Can we set up something to help them get along a bit, because they weren't getting along at school? And he was like, yeah, that's a great idea. And we did set up some kind of I think it on a Monday night, they had football training at 6, so he used to come. But in the end, Callum said to me, like, we got the repercussions back, like for the whistle blowing. Even though I hadn't said that he was doing anything untoward, I just wanted them to kind of improve their relationship. It didn't go down well with the other child, so so that sort of stopped. So I just definitely think that's not the right route to deal with this. So I think the toolbox is the first one, and then if it continues, and he's been keeping a little diary, so if it continues, we'll go back to the school with this evidence, of what's been going on.
And that's it. I gave him a little diary to sort of keep, which was sometimes that's the best thing. And actually, sometimes the diary is really good because what it helps them to see is the frequency of it. Because sometimes when you're actually in the experience it, you can actually feel like you're immersed in it and it's going on all the time. So listen, Nic, I think that was it. We weren't going to talk on for too long, but thank you so much for coming on. But I just wanted to go back to our coaching question, which is, in the unlikely event that you had to leave your house suddenly and could say 3 things, what would you take with you? And I will share that in the group again, like I did last night, because sometimes it's quite an interesting thing. And you know what I'd love to do as well is refer back today. Tracy's in the IWOW group, Inspirational Women of the World group, did a lovely live, and she was asking us to think about what's your purpose, what's the legacy you want to leave. And I thought this was really good and thought-provoking, so I just wanted to mention it tonight. What difference do you want to make in the world or in your life, and what impact you want to have? What do you want to achieve? So I thought that was a really, really lovely question, and I'm going to address it myself. So what's your purpose or legacy that you want to leave behind? And I think sometimes whatever, and for me, I know it's like making a difference with people's lives, like with the things like this, just helping them with the bullying, helping them with any mental health concerns they've got, or the confidence or resilience or mindset. That's for me. I want to just know that that's what I'm doing for people. I mean, have you got any thoughts about that? I know I've just thrown the question at you, so you might want to think about it, Nic, before we go.
I know that's absolutely fine. I can absolutely answer that question because it's the part I've been on for years, and it came about health, watching my dad deteriorate in health and their own health challenges. Now I have found different ways of helping people with their health, helping people with their challenges of not feeling the best of themselves, and so my mission is to spread the word on sort of nutritional supplements or activation that can help you to sort of live your best life and get back to being in control of your health. I think too many people are poorly, sick, and they're not doing anything about it themselves. They're relying on medicine, they're relying on doctors, and I'm not saying that anything negative about them. I'm saying doctors are fantastic, they will help you, cure you, and the NHS is brilliant. We're so lucky that we've got that, but I think we need to take responsibility for ourselves as well and really look after our own health first, and aim for prevention rather than just waiting to get something and then for the doctors to step in and cure us, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, so no, I know.
So that's a very sort of shrunk down
so I don't
statement, of what my mission is, but I've been reminded of that today.
I'm sorry, it's such a bad connection. So tell you what you should do, Nic, is afterwards, why don't you just put a link in of what you do and write and explain to people, because I don't think all of that came through. I'm so sorry. I've just got to tell you. I'm not picking up everything you're saying. You're frozen again, I'm afraid. Really sorry.
Yeah. Hello? Okay. No, it's fine. It's
so,
fine.
I can guys, I'm going to say,
I am.
Are you managing to hear me? So I'm going to say good night now, and I hope you all had a really good, bonfire night, 5th of November. It's really lovely to speak to you all. I'd love you to have a think and tell me what your answer would be in the likely event you had to leave the house. What the 3 things you take with us. And I'd love you to think about also Tracy's questions, which were fantastic. What's your purpose, and what legacy do you want to leave behind? What do you want to be remembered for, or what do you want to achieve? I thought they were fantastic questions as well. Thank you, everybody, and lovely to see you. And tomorrow night, just to let you know, I've actually got a couple of lads coming on with me who are well, they're now 18 and 19, but I've known them for 10 years, and it's their little how they've grown and developed in and their journey really to where they are now. And one of them is on an apprenticeship, and one's had their apprenticeship thwarted actually because of COVID. So anyway, we'll be chatting, and so we want to get some young people involved as well. All right, take care everybody, and I hope you have a lovely evening. All my love. Bye bye.